fellow Falcoholics. What is up? Welcome to the Falcoholic Lives Day 6 Falcons Training Camp Recap, live from a broom closet in Flowery Branch. They're very accommodating. This is actually, I think, some sort of film viewing room. And all of the film viewing stuff is just out of frame, just like our friends.
The chairs are super comfortable.
The chairs are very nice.
Very nice.
They're like leather wrapped. It's a very nice chair here, as you can see. But welcome in, guys. Of course, as you can see, joined live and in person by two tremendous guests, and one tremendous guest and one, permanent co-host. Adnan has definitely risen to the level of, sorry.
Is this your way of real time telling me?
You can't say anything because we're on air. So
is this your way of real time saying
low key
on the show next week?
Low key, yeah. But Adnan, he is at Say Which Way, guys. Adnan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Shout out to the Falcons, the Flowery Branch facilities for accommodating us with this very lovely film room and letting us go live for, I think this is our second ever in-person live show. The first one being the gathering party over at Sweetwater on Friday. So that's pretty nice. I'm sure you guys are wondering why I'm wearing a bucket hat. And the answer is because it was hot out there. And this is the hat that I've been wearing to camp every day because it was, again, no shade at all, pure sunlight. I think my neck is very burned, like to a crisp. I've gotten a bit of a tan, but, I've decided to roll with the bucket hat in the spirit of, I'll call it my reporting hat.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. And we're also, of course, joined by the very well known now, especially since he's been getting the scoopages at camp, Daniel Flick.
Very well tanned as well.
Yes.
I'm saying that I was tanned, and Daniel looks like some cheddar cheese right now.
See, I meant to grab a bucket hat and I never did, and we actually had a full conversation about that yesterday. That I should have copped one and I never did.
What a rookie! What a rookie!
Really bad look there for the kid, but you know what? It's hot. Very hot.
Yeah.
It's very hot.
Today was better, to be fair. I think today was maybe the coolest actual day. It was
Saturday. I think
Saturday was the nicest overall. Saturday had a nice breeze, but
Daniel, aren't you from the South? Like, don't you know what goes into this?
Yeah, I just showed up not using my brain. But you know what? My calves have been cooked.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about being in shambles? My calves are gonna. No, it's rough.
The calves are in shambles for sure.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
that's just been Daniel's way of showing off his calves.
Low key.
Hey guys, look at these.
Check out these. Well, yeah, we're gonna. We were hoping to get to see Daniel in the media one-on-ones, but we haven't gotten an update on those yet. So you'll be the first to know, guys, if we take part in those. But
I'm down.
Yeah, I'm also down. I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
But
again, I'm down if it's not against the players.
Yeah, no, that
Line me up.
Just imagine one of us picking off Desmond Ritter, though.
The storyline, the headline would be crazy.
Falcons media member picks off Desmond Ritter in one-on-ones. It'd be legendary. But the last time something like that happened, we went to the Super Bowl. And that was a coach. So if a media member does it, that has to be even better. Maybe that means we actually win the Super Bowl.
I'm going full Taylor Heinicke crusade if one of us picks off Desmond Ritter.
Yeah.
If one of us even bats down any of those.
Yeah. No, we're probably going to get to that too. Before we do, guys, we want to bring you a quick word from our sponsor, betonline.ag, your number one source for all your betting needs. You can get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. Perhaps you're feeling hyped up by these training camp reports for the Falcons or otherwise. Bijan Robinson smashed that over on all-purpose yards, by the way. No matter what you want to bet on, though, guys, you can do that right now at BetOnline, who is your sports intel headquarters this season, as they've got you covered for all your insider sports wagering needs. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Wow. Including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action, and be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online where the game starts, and of course where our coverage of practice starts right now. Now I know you have multiple agendas to push. One of them is the Penny Hart agenda.
I have one agenda to push, and it's the Penny Hart agenda.
That's the main one.
I am not pushing any other agendas.
Yes. Well, I know you had a hot take, perhaps, and we're really. This is a bit. We'll preface that, but other people will join later, and then they won't know it's a bit, which is great. But Adnan, as the resident Desmond Ritter hater of the group, How excited were you that Taylor Heinicke managed to have a better practice today?
I mean, I think Taylor Heinicke's had better practices overall in camp, except not on Saturday. Not on Saturday. Ritter had a much better. And this is not me being a Desmond Ritter hater. That's absolutely a bit. I am, I am 100% in on Desmond Ritter being this team's Week 1 starter. But I mean, Taylor Heinicke had a better day today than Ritter did. I think Taylor Heinicke had a better day yesterday than Ritter did. I think the first 2 days of camp, Heinicke had better. I think Friday was about the same. Saturday, Ritter was ahead. But today, genuinely, I mean, Ritter, once again, and we're jumping right into the Ritter talk, he once again did not complete a single deep pass in scrimmage. He completed a really nice pass to Penny Hart in 2-on-2s, which I got that on video and posted that on Twitter. I think all of us did, if you want to see that. But I think the longest pass of the day for Desmond Ritter was that 10-yard pass to Drake London along the sideline. And Ritter has done a great job with the short passes. And he did a great job with the short passes again today. Yesterday, again, he hit 7 good dink and dunk passes.
Beautiful
Dink and dunk
well
passes.
located.
Yeah, very well located. But today, we're not worried about the short passes with Desmond Ritter. We know what he is. We know he's a really good short accuracy quarterback. I care about more of the deep stuff. And he's proven himself. He is more than proven when it comes to the short passes. He's not proven with the deep passes. And today he had 2 deep attempts by my count. One of them was a miss to Drake London. And it was good coverage from Jeff Okuda. London was near the sideline. And I think the pass was away from both of them. I think it was too low for London to get. And the other one was intercepted by Richie Grant. And that pass, I think, Kevin, you said that it looked like the intended receiver. I think it was Josh Ali, number 80.
I think there might have been a miscommunication on the route, and then Richie Grant leapt in the air to
play.
get it. So it was a very impressive play. But yeah, I hesitate to put a lot of blame on anyone, and for that one in particular. And then we can praise Richie Grant because that's a great.
It was
play.
a hell of a play by fifth interception in camp by my count in 6 days. Overall, this is only scrimmages. But basically, we still have not seen Ritter consistently throw that deep pass. The only day in camp so far where Ritter has actually looked good throwing deep has been on Saturday. And, I mean, we're 6 days in. They're not really doing it as much as we would like to see it, given the fact that they will dial up that deep shot in the games. But so far, I haven't seen what I need to see from Ritter, which is that deep passing game.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to see it. It's exciting stuff. The team has, I think, been pretty clearly more concerned with getting the timing down on the short to intermediate stuff. And, we talked about it on the sidelines. It's obviously that's going to be your bread and butter. Those are going to be the passes you're going to be attempting most of the time. There just haven't even been that many actual deep shots, period. It's been, I think Ritter has thrown fewer than the other quarterbacks. And that may just be part of the. Yeah, it's hard to read the comments from here.
Yeah, look through some of the comments right
I wonder if I can make that bigger. But
I'm sorry. Normally I have a tab up and I'm reading the comments in real time as you guys are writing them because we're all about the interactiveness and now Kevin has them in 4-point font very.
Usually the computer's closer to me, to be honest. So that's part of it. Yeah.
Hey, how about Jason B on there? Y'all got Flick on. Let's go.
Shout out. Shout out. Daniel Flick is the real star.
Trust me,
we're just the podcast. We're the podcast bozos. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just the blog boys. I mean, all of us are blog boys.
Yeah,
big time blog boys. Yeah.
But I mean, to counter that point a little bit, I mean, Heinicke looked good on the deep ball today. He had a couple of really good deep passes today. Had a couple of really good deep passes yesterday. I'm not gonna. I have expectations of this team starting quarterback as is natural. We're all big Falcons fans. We all are rooting for the team to succeed. And I mean, I don't want to give him. I'm not going to give Ritter that out of he just hasn't thrown enough deep shots. He hasn't. I'd like to see more deep shots, but even among the deep shots that he has thrown, I think overall I don't know what the exact statistics are, but he's completed I think around in the 30s
Yeah.
Like percentage-wise.
Probably, yeah. And, it is what it is. I think, other than, I think there was that really nice throw to Penny Hart in 2v2. That was a one-on-one, technically.
Man,
And there are some
an
things that
exciting
are,
play,
yeah, it was good.
I mean,
I mean, it's your son. Yeah. It's
I
your
mean,
son.
I loved seeing Penny Hart. We'll talk a little bit about like some of what Penny Hart didn't do well later.
Yeah, we'll have some takes on that as well.
But
yeah.
yeah, it was a great play, and shout out Penny Hart. I am, that is the only narrative I am publicly pushing, and I'm all in on the Penny Hart narrative. But still, I don't care about the one-on-ones. It's great. It's great content. It's great video content. Kevin's gone viral many times. Daniel's going viral right now
As we speak.
for the Zach Harrison play. But one-on-ones, that's not a good barometer. That's not a good gauge of actual play. Like, it's literally one-on-one. The offensive player will always have that advantage. You have the entire field to work with in front of you and one defender in front of you. Most of the time, the offensive player will come away with a victory on there.
Yeah.
I care way more about what I see in scrimmages. What am I seeing on 7-on-7, on 11-on-11, even more so, in the red zone drills, which is also 11-on-11 stuff. That's the stuff I care about. That's the stuff where the one-on-ones. I think you can give or take. You can throw out the one-on-ones if you'd like to. It's just exciting content for the fans, or it's exciting content for like the Twitter folks, because that's the only thing we can.
That's the only thing we can put out there. Yeah, but Daniel, what do you've seen a couple days now. Where do you sort of land on this?
I think the word I would use would be unspectacular.
I thought you were going to say Desmond Mitter.
No.
The word of the day is Mitter.
That hasn't been.
Oh shit! Let me not say that so loud. Like the players are right out.
Yeah, literally, the players could be in the next room.
Yeah,
so,
no, that
noted Desmond Ritter hater Adnan Ikic is here. Okay, so that way, if they're recording this, they know who to blame.
Yeah, right.
Please, Daniel.
Ouch.
Guys, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're doing a bit.
It's a bit.
It's all for fun. But no, I mean, unspectacular, probably the word that I'd use. I think he hasn't done anything so far to where I would be legitimately concerned. But he also hasn't done anything either to where it's like, oh wow. Like, there haven't really been any wow throws of any variety so far. I'm not sure I've actually seen him throw a pass above 30 yards so far, which, again, there's only so much you can read on checkdowns. And I think he's been at his best, kind of working 3-step drops and in rhythm. Short stuff's been really accurate so far for him. And again, you look at his overall passing numbers, and he's probably in the 7-on-7, 11-on-11, he's probably completed 70% of his passes, from maybe higher, because it's just everything is high percentage, very, very short, very underneath, to the point where he hasn't really done anything to where you're just like, oh wow, like that was legitimately a really, really good throw, really good rep. I haven't seen that yet out of him. I think he's done an okay job. I think you can't leave here feeling like, oh wow, I mean, just absolute disaster. It has not been that at all. It has not been brutal by any means. It just hasn't been like absolutely impressive. And so again, we're 2 padded practices in. It can obviously change. I'm sure it will change one way or another. But so far, I think he's kind of just handling his job, and all of his teammates have been very complimentary of how he's handled himself in the huddle, and everything else that we've known about him for a long time as far as leadership and everything. So
yeah. I mean, you were there for the Arthur Blank press conference that we were, so they bring in Arthur Blank, which is cool,
in the middle of
practice, and they're like, okay, he's there if you guys want to like skip the like red zone drills, and we're like
it was one of the most important parts of the day, where they're giving every single quarterback, each offense, like a chance to go against the defense,
score basically.
Like it was like a 1-minute drill. Or like maybe it was 2. I think there's no way it was 2 minutes.
It might have been 2 minutes. I don't know, but
it seemed like less than 2 minutes over.
Well, it's because Ritter threw a pick.
Yeah, but it's like it's literally like each quarterback has his chance.
We're gonna get jumped by somebody. I just know it.
Yeah, there's gonna be some dudes in masks on our way out of here who just like tie us up or something.
Yeah, we have to be really careful, because I think the locker room is like.
Daniel and I accidentally walked into the locker room on the way here, actually.
I think I held the door for Javon Quinn. I didn't even think twice about it. Like,
okay, cool. You guys acted like you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
So.
No, literally, I held the first door for him, and he's like, "Oh, I appreciate it, man." Like, walks by. Daniel holds the second door into the locker room. I'm already like, "Oh my god!" Like, we're in the wrong place right now.
Yes.
But what were we talking about?
Desmond Ritter.
Oh god. I know. I cannot see the middle name.
Oh,
Sorry,
Arthur
taking
Blank.
on-
Arthur
Is the
Blank.
Arthur
Blank?
Blank.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
so
it was literally like 11 on 11s for each offense, and they're like, "Hey guys, Arthur Blank is like starting right now," and we're like, "What do you mean he's starting like right now? Practice is going on."
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, we figured Kevin and I figured it was for us. We would divide and conquer a little bit. Daniel went to go watch the press conference. We finished covering the 11 on 11s, but I mean, they
Yeah.
could have been nicer to
Could
the
have synced
media with
that up
that one.
a little bit better, but Arthur Blank basically, had the quote right. So.
Yeah, he said that. I believe the exact quote is, "I like our young quarterback. We believe he's our quarterback in the future." He said we're all confident in that, and he seemed very adamant about the fact that, the Falcons had a 3-year plan when they hired Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot, and that so far they're on track with all that. And obviously quarterback. Arthur Blank mentioned it's a quarterback-driven league. He seemed very confident that they've got the right guy, and so. We'll kind of see how that progresses, but he talked about how it's more than just his little stretch last year. It was everything that he's been doing behind the scenes and kind of everything else around. I guess everything they've seen in him since they drafted him last April, and so Arthur Blank obviously won't step in front of a podium and say like, "Hey, we don't have confidence in our quarterback,ck," but he did kind of
he
bring
sucks.
it. Yeah, no, it's not the answer, but no, but he did say kind of unprompted that he believes in Ritter, that he believes Ritter is the franchise quarterback, and he seemed very confident in that belief. So
Yeah.
Arthur Blank, from everything that we've heard so far, all the talk coming out of Falcons camp from those inside has been very positive. And again, you'd expect it. I mean, I'd be shocked if anybody came out and said, "Yeah, he's pretty average," But I mean. It's been positive from that aspect, and you can tell that everybody inside that locker room is very confident in where he's trending, and where he's already at.
Yeah, and I think that's something important to note. Like we're following every throw of practice and tweeting it out and reporting it because like it's content, it's great. The fans want to see it, but ultimately they're not gonna make any significant changes to the lineup at this point. I mean, obviously there's opportunities for guys to prove themselves over the next like 3 weeks, folks, before the regular season. Actually, it's 4 weeks, I think. There's still 3 preseason games to go. We're going to be witnessing a handful of practices. We'll be back Wednesday one more time,
And we'll be covering the preseason games.
Yeah, and of course we'll be live play-by-play.
Live play-by-play of well, I'll be there for the first and third. I will miss actually the only important one, the second one. But I'll be there for the Logan Woodside and Carlos Washington Jr. Reps in the third preseason game.
Yeah,
so. But I mean,
I'm working on the bit for that. I think it's going to be taking him to the Woodside or something.
But
we're going to workshop.
Take him to the woodshed.
Like
But the thing is, I mean, and this is it's not a shameless plug because it's our show and we're talking about this show.
We're allowed to plug our own stuff.
Yeah, we're allowed to plug our own shit. Daniel on the other. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Can't even say a word.
Yeah.
We have very strict requirements.
I'll just leave right now. Walk out. Not welcome back on the show.
But basically, Kevin and I were talking about it, and I promise you, we will have more Logan Woodside and third and fourth string information that third preseason game than the actual coverage of the game, whatever channel it's going to be on, because we have watched every single Logan Woodside throw in practice over training camp, and we've watched every single Carlos Washington Jr. rep, and I think we're even too heavily invested into this wide receiver 5 battle. I think it's kind of sicko behavior on our end. But we're definitely we definitely know what we're talking about when it comes to the depth on this team right now.
Yeah, and shout out to the Mastery Channel, who's a Commanders fan convert to the Falcons.
Oh, really?
Welcome. I don't blame you for getting off that ship. I mean, I hope that team obviously has better
going
stuff
from
ahead.
Sam Howell to Desmond Ritter.
Sam Howell's supposed to be better, right? According to the QB rankings. So yeah,
Sam Mitter out there.
Yeah. God damn it.
Sam Midwell and Desmond Mitter out here.
Arthur Blank touched on the Commanders' ownership side today, though. He said it was like a relief for them, and he talked pretty highly about Josh Harris, but he definitely seemed pretty happy that Snyder was gone. So
Unfortunately, we have a new villain emerging quite rapidly in the NFL landscape, so it doesn't seem like we were able to get even a quiet week in between.
Not at all.
But hey,
tough.
that's just
It's these billionaires, bro, and I
Yep.
mean, oh my God, Jim Irsay. Like, what the fuck are you doing right now?
maybe just don't talk. Like, just
Like he pulled up to Colts practice in an RV, and like Jonathan Taylor just disappeared into an RV, and someone tweeted out there like, "Who thought it was a good idea to leave Taylor and Irsay together alone for like 2 hours?"
That's never a good sign. Very ominous. But yeah, welcome in. Appreciate you. Yeah, so we talked about the quarterbacks. They were all, I think, pretty sharp today. I think that's one of the takeaways. Is I think they were all three pretty good. I agree. I do agree with Adnan though that Heinicke had the best day today.
He had this like he had a couple of really good zip
He did.
passes. Like, I
and
mean,
he's just more aggressive. Like you can
Yeah,
tell. Like
he is
that's
more
just- but
aggressive.
if you've watched Taylor Heinicke, you know that that's his blessing and curse. Like Taylor Heinicke is aggressive.
yeah,
He will put the ball in harm's way, and sometimes make some spectacular plays as a result,
He had
and then lose some games. Like I mean, that's sort of what it is with him. And Ritter's more controlled.
I'm
so.
still saying Woodside had the throw of camp so far yesterday on that pass to Slade Bolden. The throw of the day was from Heinicke. It was to Frank Darby. And Frank Darby also had a really good day today. Like Frank Darby is also working his way back into that wide receiver 5 competition. We haven't really mentioned him as much in our talk about Zay Malone, Penny Hart, some Slade Bolden in there. But definitely Frank Darby is definitely a player in it. I think he beat Clark Phillips in a 1-on-1, but it was just an underthrown pass, and Phillips got the breakup. But Frank Darby had a step on him. So Darby had this, very deep out route where he went deep, goes out, and Taylor Heinicke just hit him in between the numbers. That's one of those like really difficult passes to make as a quarterback. It was deep downfield, and just a perfect ball to Frank Darby. And that was one of, I think, 3 really good deeper passes from Taylor Heinicke. And I mean, yeah, Heinicke is aggressive, and he'll sometimes put the ball in harm's way, but Ritter has 3 times as many picks as Heinicke this camp. So
People are gonna forget that this is a bit if you keep talking like that.
look, I'm just giving you the facts. Like,
Yes.
This isn't even like the no context facts. It's just like,
Yeah.
I think overall Heinicke's had a bit of a better camp so far, but in fairness, Heinicke is playing against the 2s. I think the Falcons, obviously first string defense is much better than the second string defense.
The
And I
first
think
string defense has been really good.
and the first string defense is like a lot better than the second string. Like, I think they've been throwing to like similar. I think they've been rotating out some of the receivers in there as well. Like, Drake London is catching passes from both Heinicke and from Desmond Ritter. So Heinicke hasn't had that much of an advantage, or excuse me, Ritter hasn't had that much of an advantage with his weapons, but he is having to go up against the much better defensive players, and I think that really matters. And that's some context added into it. But overall, Heinicke's looked as good as I would have hoped he would look. But Ritter, I just want to see some more consistency and some better results with those deep passes. That's my only question mark so far.
There's another Heinicke throw too. I want to throw some love on. He had a far hash throw today to London on the sideline. London made a full extension toe tap, toe tap catch. That was one of the most impressive catches I've seen. That ball was also located about as well as it could have been.
Against Cornell Armstrong.
Yeah, who's had a really good camp too.
Yeah. And it was so funny seeing the the dichotomy of the DB versus the wide receiver. You had Cornell Armstrong after that catch. That catch was inbounds, by the way. Like, Drake London has done a great job with his body placement near the sidelines. I think he had 2 toe tap catches today, and overall he's been doing a great job of keeping his feet in bounds like throughout the entire process, throughout all of training camp. And he was 100% in bounds. And you had Cornell Armstrong just like celebrating, doing the like corner thing. And you had like
London's like running into the inside.
Drake London just looks over and does like the little too short motion in front of him.
That was
So
funny.
it was very fun. But Drake London, I think these were his 2 best days of camp so far.
Yeah,
These
he had
2
the
days
punt
past,
yesterday. The punt to the fans after he lost.
Backup punter, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Bradley
good.
Pinion's understudy.
Yeah.
From what I've seen out of London, I think all the like summer hype that everybody had about him, I think has been completely justified
Yeah,
so far.
yeah.
I mean, he's been about as good as you can ask for, and I know Arthur Smith isn't a big fan of wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 28, whatever it may be.
He doesn't care.
He
about
does
those
not
labels,
care,
yeah.
but I think for the average fan, if you kind of look at how they classify things, London has proven to me over the last few days that he's ready to kind of keep on climbing the ladder of receivers. I guess not only here but like in the league, to where I think
Yeah.
he's pretty clearly. If he doesn't break 1,000 yards, I think
I'll be
I'd be
shocked.
I'd be very surprised. Assuming he plays a full 17
Yeah.
17 games. I mean he's looked. I mean he's big. He's strong. His hands look very good, and he's been consistently open. And so to me, I've been blown away so far.
Yeah.
Through 2
And
days.
like the other thing too is like, I think we talked about it on Saturday that like there's just a chance that Ritter is just a gamer. He's a guy that's like he's got the crowd. He's got the stakes are higher because there's like a million fans on the hill, and like he just has his best practice and he's hitting these shots. He's more aggressive. He has his best day. So I think if you watch the games last year, Ritter also I think was more aggressive, more decisive, making clutch plays when it got to crunch time, when the stakes were higher, and that's what he did in college too. So, I think that like he's calm, controlled, collected, not necessarily pushing anything in practice because it's practice, and they're working on specific things that we're not privy to. I wish they would tell us exactly what they're doing, but they're not going to do that. And I think you can see the tendencies of all the quarterbacks. Like Taylor Heinicke's going to try to push it because that's his personality. I think Logan Woodside's kind of in between the two, where he's a little bit more aggressive than Ritter, but not quite as controlled either. And then Ritter's the more controlled guy, and I think that's what a lot of coaches would say they prefer. It doesn't necessarily make for a bunch of highlight reels in practice, but the other thing is like there were a couple throws today where like AJ Terrell broke up a deep pass to Drake London on the sideline that probably would have been complete if not for Terrell getting his hand on the ball, and
Terrell's done that a lot.
Yeah.
This camp.
and that's what we were talking about with the
Really good.
defense. Is like
Yeah.
the defense, the first string defense has been playing so well that like I think that's making people think less of Ritter even when the throws have been good.
And
It's
that's
like, oh, it's incomplete. It's like, oh well, yeah.
and that's the
offense
context
sucks,
here, right? Like, yeah, I'm saying, like, I'm telling you, I will tell you unequivocally, I think Heinicke's looked better, but Heinicke, it's different when you're going up against Cornell Armstrong versus AJ Terrell. And no offense to Cornell Armstrong, but he's not AJ Terrell.
Just Cornell's like
Taking the
right
ball.
there.
Yeah, there was actually zero reason for me to actually even throw the name out there. I could have just said
Just
like the
roast his
second
ass,
stringer against
yeah.
the first stringers, but it's a difference between Nate Landman and Troy Anderson in coverage. But
He's gonna keep on going.
yeah,
just keep going.
just gonna
Just
keep
keep
on
burying
going.
him. Yeah.
Let's keep going out here.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between I mean I don't want to say Jalen Hawkins. Jalen Hawkins has a couple picks.
Yeah, he does.
Micah Abernathy versus Jesse Bates out here. Even though Abernathy also has a pick operator, by the way. Let me stop.
Just bury everyone. Yeah, and it's just like
Keep going.
you're just segueing into like burying somebody else when you're trying to finish your previous burial. But
You're gonna revoke his credentials.
yeah,
from
it's
all
like
this,
no,
right?
get out.
I'm gonna show up and like the door will be
Come
locked.
into my facility,
It's
talk
good-
trash about my players.
It's gonna be that meme of like
Jamal
the guy trying to like it wasn't Jamal Adams trying to like get into the building. And it's like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, and that Joe Schmo brings up a good point too. It's like a lot of these reps, they're like predetermined. So it's not like Ritter's going to go out there and read the defense and then like decide on a play. Like it's like, okay, we're going to run this play. The defense, is like, okay, we're going to run this play. And like you're trying, this is like install. Like these first couple weeks are like you're still installing your offense. So, it's all a little bit overblown. It's fun to talk about, and we're going to tell you who looks good doing what they're told to do, and who looks mid. But it is what it is. So don't.
Although I will say on some of those like reps, like I do think that they have some progressions that they go through where you have the option to check it down to one guy versus you can go into your second rep and third rep, and I've noticed that just because I notice when they're especially in 11 on 11s when there is a little bit of pressure, you can see the quarterback maneuvering around the pocket, and sometimes they'll hit the check down, and sometimes they'll go a bit deeper. And the reason why I say that is because it wouldn't make sense to have because Heinicke threw the ball deeper a bit more than I saw it from Ritter today. I don't think it would make sense to have Heinicke, consistently go a bit deeper than what we've seen from Ritter the last couple of days. So I do think that while there are predetermined plays, they don't tell the quarterback, "Oh, you're going to be throwing to this guy,
Yeah.
like on this play."
No,
Like,
no, it's
they
not
make
that
those
determined.
decisions.
Yeah, you're supposed to read the play, go through your progressions, and make a decision based on that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's still a lot to see. There's still a lot to watch, and we're gonna see more over the coming weeks. And really, like, it doesn't start to get super meaningful until we see preseason. And really, I mean, week 1 is when it actually matters. So like, they're not doing this to put on a show for us. They're not. I mean, maybe on Saturday you could argue like, okay, like this is our big fan day. We're going to try to put on a show. But like, they don't really care to show the media anything. I mean, we can't even film most of the team stuff. So they're not really trying to prove anything or do anything. So everybody keep that in mind. And also, like, look around the league. A lot of guys making mistakes right now. A lot of young quarterbacks struggling. A lot of veteran quarterbacks struggling.
It's week 1 of preseason,
Yeah.
or of training camp. We're not even out
It's
preseason.
just like
And,
we're installing still.
But the thing is, it's like, this is content. This is people are really hungry for some of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, we are too, honestly.
We
Like,
are, yeah. I mean, we'd love to see it.
like, I'd be lying to you if I went out there and I said, "Oh yeah, I don't care about like practice. I don't care about like what I'm seeing out there right now," because we also haven't seen these guys since that Bucks game.
Yeah.
So of course we want to see. I do want to get Daniel's opinion though. Like, what has been the most impressive thing for you in these first couple days of padded practices? I mean, me and Kevin have been talking every single day about what we like, what we don't like. I do want to get your take on it.
Run defense. Atlanta's run defense has been very, very impressive so far to me. I kind of came into camp and, throughout the whole summer, I looked at the offensive line, kind of looked at where it was last year, and I still think it'll be a very big strength. Atlanta's defensive line has been shut down. I mean, it has just been, they've been locking up the run game all week so far in pads. That's one of the things that Lindstrom mentioned today. It's just how, I think he called them tremendous. I mean, they've been very, very impressive so far. There have not been a whole lot of big runs, it feels like. I think we've seen maybe a couple 5 to 10 yard runs ripped off. And again, this is something where that the level of competition is good. I mean, Atlanta had, I think, the league's 3rd best running attack last year, right? Running offense. So, and they're supposed to be just as good, if not better, this year. So I mean, it's, I think run defense is something that I've just been blown away by. Linebackers have been very, very impressive. Very, very, very impressive. There's not a lot of lanes. I think, they've kind of run a lot of 5-2 looks up front, I think. And I just think the way they've been filling gaps has been very, very impressive. And you're kind of seeing, I feel like there was so much hype around the front 7, just with the way that they kind of retooled it this offseason, and obviously put a lot of investment into that whole group. And I think we've kind of seen it pay off early. Again, one-on-ones have, in my personal opinion, I think the pass rush has won a lot of the one-on-ones so far, which you'd kind of expect because it's kind of the setting where you'd kind of expect them to win. But they've lived up to it, whether it's one-on-ones, 7s, 11s, and then pretty much every time that you get into a situation where it's strictly running stuff, I mean, there's no lanes there, and so I think that's an area that I was hoping we'd see take a step forward. Because I think as you look at the secondary, there's a lot of talent there, and there's not a whole lot of concern on my end about how that's going to play out. But you wanted to see steps forward up front, and I think so far it's been all positive. And so, I think Drake London is another guy that I think through 2 days I've been blown away by, as I mentioned earlier. But as far as other takeaways, just the run defense has truly been very. I will honestly leave here feeling very confident that Atlanta will have a top half at least run defense in the NFL this year, if not top 10, which is a huge step forward from last year.
I'm right there with you, and I think that was the most impressive part of camp today and yesterday. It's just not, it's not the sexiest topic of, it's amazing run defense. Because if it was Bijan Robinson who went out there and like the running attack was dominating, and Bijan was getting these like massive, huge touchdowns, we'd be leading the show with that. We'd be like, oh my god, we haven't mentioned Bijan Robinson yet.
He had that one really good run, I thought, but yeah.
I think, but even that one, I think he got stopped. Like I think it was
Yeah.
blown. I think it was like whistled us as a stop 5 yards in. I'm with you. I think.
Yeah.
I think if
I think it was weak. Yeah.
I think if it was a real setting, it wouldn't have. He would have gotten away, and he showed off some juke moves and stuff. I think he juked out the safety.
Yeah.
He looked really good in the open field. But I'm not going to hold it against the defense there
Yeah.
because they heard the whistle, and
yeah.
you hear the whistle, you sort of stop. But technically, I think we've seen one run of 10 yards, and that was yesterday with the Bijan Robinson in the red zone. And outside of that, oh my God, like
It's been smothering. Yeah.
it has been smothered. There was one successful screen pass to Cordero Patterson today, and they had this one screen pass to Carlos Washington where he just got swarmed as soon as he caught the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan Nielsen emphasizes the importance of run defense, and I mean, you hit the nail on the head with the linebackers. They all looked so good. In run defense, Troy Anderson looks really good in covering tight ends. He looked really good in covering Kyle Pitts today. I want to give a shout out to Timmy Horn as well.
Yeah.
He's going to be, I think, the day one nose tackle. And Timmy Horn, he got a sack out there today, and he's a disruptor. Like every single time, he looks like he's causing chaos on that interior part of the offensive line. And this is a guy who, I think he was one of the last guys who earned a roster spot last year.
Yep.
I don't even think he would have without recovering that fumble against Detroit, that Jared Bernhardt game-winning touchdown game that set that up. But this year I think deservedly so. He is firmly a roster lock, and I mean Timmy Horn. I mean we were talking about Eddie Goldman
Right.
for a few days here, and Eddie Goldman's not going to be back, but Timmy Horn is, I think, going to fill those shoes. And yeah, that run defense these 2 days has been absolutely stout, and I feels like the offense, the rushing offense, has been a bit frustrated as well as a result.
Yeah,
And
I think so.
I think the Atlanta's defense will leave a lot of teams leaving frustrated this season in the run game.
Another name I'd like to throw out, Nate Landman, to me, has been a
for sure.
huge winner.
For
I
sure.
think we talked about it yesterday. I think Nate Landman is probably a very safe bet to be
He's like the fourth
four.
linebacker.
I think it's a very safe bet to be
Especially with
linebacker four.
Etheridge gone.
He did
Yep.
get juked out of his shoes by Bijan in that 2v2,
He
but
did. That's
that's
okay.
not
That's
really
the game.
fair to any linebacker.
I'm not
to be
holding
honest.
that
I'm not
against
really
him.
going to hold that against anyone.
Troy Anderson and Caden
Caden
Ellis,
Ellis, they've
both
all
got
been-
juked
yeah.
out by. It's just like
Who would-
they-
who
Join the club.
Really, I don't know that anyone's
Yeah.
really
But-
able to cover that.
And maybe Arthur Smith will watch this show, get mad at us, and have one of us cover Bijan one-on-one.
I'll try it.
I know what'll happen.
Let's go viral
Yeah.
again.
No,
then
that's
we
a
get
uh,
different type of viral.
Yeah, it's a bad viral.
Yeah, that's the bad one. Yeah. It'll be like that one where the guy like jukes out and he just like falls over.
Yeah.
Fake an injury. That's what I'll.
No,
I'll probably
what
do
you
that.
guys don't know is that they probably have guys camped out there who probably aren't allowed to leave before signing
Yeah.
those waivers.
Yep.
Signing away our ability, or signing us up to go out there, on the field with some of the players tomorrow.
Yep.
Arthur Smith is
Strap
clasping his
up,
hand
boys.
together. He's
Strap
like,
up. Yeah.
all right, Kevin, Oklahoma drill against Grady. Daniel, one-on-one against Bijan.
Yeah.
Me, Oklahoma drill against David Onyema.
Yeah. I don't think I've gotten a 3-point stance in at least 15 years. So, yeah.
Me, boxing match against Desmond Ridge.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, that's honestly, with or without the waiver, that's probably gonna happen.
Yeah.
With or without
Yeah.
the waiver, that's probably gonna happen. Like the second this live show ends.
oh yeah, they're waiting. They got them all lined up.
They definitely are.
Which Grady should be nice to me because I have his jersey and I've been like the biggest Grady Jarrett lover. So Grady, please don't kill me.
No, I genuinely hope that nobody has heard anything of what we've said. Like, I hope these rooms are at least a little soundproof, but it doesn't look like they are.
I don't think so. So take that with whatever you will. But we do have a donation from Paul Sanford with the $5. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Paul.
Shout out.
He says, we all want deep shots, but to quote Arthur Smith, and I'm paraphrasing, thank you for letting us know, all the Twitter experts are trying to break down plays, but have no clue what we're asking him to do. Ritter is known to take deep shots. My bet is the coaches may not want him to over the last few days. And yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Paul. Like, they're trying to practice stuff. It's install. They're trying to run all their plays. They're trying to get everything going. So yes, like clearly they're not really dialing up a lot of stuff, but some of the sessions they do have, I think, the freedom, like you guys mentioned, to target whoever they want on the play within the confines of the play, and he hasn't tended to go deep on those
Yeah.
shots. Now maybe that's because he's got Jesse Bates to contend with and Richie Grant,
Yeah, and that's
you know,
very
pick
fair,
something
for
off
sure.
today that it's like I don't like the look of these matchups. I'm gonna check it down. You know, and like honestly, like I think in the team sessions and the red zone sessions, like they've been like driving, they've been picking up first downs and all this stuff. It just hasn't been very flashy, but ultimately at the end of the day, if you score touchdowns, that's all that matters. If you dink and dunk your way down there and score touchdowns, you know,
No, that's
it'll work.
absolutely
You
true.
know, in
And I
theory,
mean,
yeah.
hey, if the Falcons dink and dunk their way down the field every game, then I mean I'm all for it. Like you said, it doesn't matter how you get those yards, but I just don't think that you'll be able to dink and dunk your way down the field.
Not against everyone. And like eventually, you're probably going to come to a time when you do have to be able to throw the ball deep for various reasons, game situation reasons, like taking advantage
And
of
it
opponents.
genuinely could be like that you do have Bates to contend with and Richard, and I mean that bodes well for the Falcons defense for sure. But at the same time, it's still like even with that in mind, you still want to see him take some of these shots now and like work on these plays in practice now versus not practicing them enough come by the time week 1 comes around. But there's still a very long way until then. I'm just I'm just giving you guys my observations about what I'm seeing with the deep shots. Enough if there are enough deep shots, if there aren't, I mean you can take or leave anything what I say.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
We're
It's
just podcast bozos,
yeah.
you know. So, yes.
Yeah, we're just those Twitter like analysts that
Internet
Arthur Smith
GMs,
is
yeah.
talking about.
Pretty faces behind a microphone right now.
Yes.
Very pretty. What can I say?
Face for radio, you know.
No, we do a live
Yeah.
show. Come on,
Yeah, we do.
We go live.
Yeah.
Not everyone is brave enough to go live.
That's
every
true.
week.
Yes, we put our faces out there
Yeah, we
for.
do put our faces out there for
I'm sure
better or
somebody
for worse.
enjoys that. Yeah.
I asked Josh if I looked like I was camera ready, and he was like, "Oh yeah." So if I'm good enough for Josh Kendall, I should be good enough for these boys. So
Mhm.
And shout out to our
Absolutely.
guy Josh Kendall, and shout out to D-Led today.
Shout
He
out
was
D-Led.
he was in a full 2-piece suit out
Yeah.
there today. Had a little bow tie.
Yeah.
Had a
yeah,
top.
Very
Came in with
classy.
a top hat.
Yeah.
I think I posted a picture of him. You can see him on my Twitter. Picture of him presenting Arthur Smith with his $500 check, oversized check. And I mean, it was a very wholesome, very nice moment before training camp. And Arthur Smith's had a lot of fun with the media so far. D-Led presented him the check to donate to any charity of his choice. Arthur Smith said he'll match the donation. And I mean, it was just a great saga with the D-Led getting fined situation so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great
Arthur
end to the
Blank.
saga.
Arthur Blank said he'll also match, by the way.
Oh,
they're
did
up
he?
to
Oh,
1,500.
awesome.
Yeah, they're now up to
1,500.
1,500. Yeah.
That's
That's great.
wonderful. Yeah, that's
It was
wonderful.
great. It was a bit for good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like that's a good
Yeah.
situation.
Meanwhile, unlike our bits, which are all for bad.
Yeah, they're all just complete just chaos.
We apologize, Desmond.
Yeah, sorry, Desmond. I'm Desmond Ritter. Yeah.
You did it. He was about to say Mitter.
No, that was also a bit. Yes, definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
You did that on purpose for sure.
But I did want to say hi to guys. I know that out of your Falcon Mind guys were in here. Thanks for watching, guys. I know Big Low Country. What's up, man?
Hey, Big Low, shout out. Big Low, we want to see you on the hill out here. We want to say hi.
Yeah, I think he was here like
Was he?
early. He was here like one of these days. Maybe
don't-
even two. Yeah.
He was that I missed him
Yeah.
for sure. My
Smitty
apologies.
Sports Machine. What's up, man? Yeah.
Smitty.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Yeah. Well, we've talked about a lot, mostly the quarterbacks. I know that's what people want to hear about, so that's why we're talking about it. But I know we should talk about the wide receivers too, because I think they've impressed. Your son Penny Hart seems to be pretty firmly entrenched with the second team, along with Frank Darby. I'm curious if where we stand with the other guys, though. Zay Malone, we talked about a lot. He's probably been the most impressive of like the other guys, but Daniel, we haven't heard from you much on this group. Where do you sort of see the group right now? Do you think there's a chance for one of those UDFAs to make it in that fifth spot, or is it going to be one of these veterans?
Yeah. We talked a little bit about that today. Chris Blair, I thought, has been very impressive. Artega Whiteside as well has been pretty impressive. Yeah, I think Obviously, we talked about on Richie Grant's interception. We think Josh Ali ran the wrong route or ran a bad route.
Some kind of miscommunication,
Yeah,
I think.
but Josh Ali has been very impressive. I think, obviously at the top, I want to shout out Matt Collins, who's been very good throughout training camp, very consistent, very energetic, a true leader in that room, perhaps in this room. But no, I think Matt Collins at the top has been very good. Scotty Miller has been kind of about what you'd expect out of him, kind of in his own little niche role there. I think as you start moving down, I think I've been impressed by what Ortega Whiteside has put up so far. I think he moves about. I think his body type
He's
is
large.
not his body type
large.
is not what you would expect to be like an athlete, but he moves pretty well. And I think that's kind of the trend that I've noticed is the Falcons have. I think Chris Blair looks the part, and I think you watch him run routes and you watch his fluidity. He's very quick for his size. It's very impressive. I thought Keelan Harris he's had some moments throughout camp so far. I do think he's probably on the outside looking in still as things stand. I think Zay Malone is probably ahead of him among the undrafted wideouts there. But I think as you kind of look at the way that room is shaping up, I think Ortega Whiteside and Josh Ali are two guys that I would very much be monitoring as we move forward. But again, Chris Blair I've not seen a lot of attention thrown his way. Now,
No, I haven't seen him targeted much. Yeah.
am I driving the Chris Blair hype train? Perhaps.
Oh,
But
so your team, Chris Blair. So now we've got Team Penny Hart, Team Zay Malone. We've got Team Keelan Harris with Aaron Freeman. And now with Daniel, we've got Team Chris Blair. So we've got a lot of teams going
I
here.
really like the body type there, and I
Yeah.
think when you watch him in the drills, he's very fluid, very loose, and he's got really good hands. And so I think, we'll see if he can kind of put it all together. I think obviously how that kind of plays out in the preseason will be the most important part. But I think right now you're kind of looking for traits, and I've been very impressed by his traits. So I didn't know a whole lot about him coming into the summer, but
Spent some time with the Packers, maybe.
So far pretty impressive. So we'll see. Hold on, I don't see you have someone saying they like your hat.
Thank you,
It's
sir.
a great hat.
Second time
Top
someone's
notch.
complimented you on that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I no, it's been a necessity out there. It's been
Yeah.
very hot. Like I came in first day no hats, and just like our friend Daniel over here, see how baked he is, and
Yeah,
It's bad. It's
he is
really
cooked
bad.
right now.
Extra crispy.
Yeah, he
Daniel.
is cooked,
Yeah.
and I mean, but in fairness, you've been covering baseball for
Yeah,
a few
you've been.
weeks,
This is
so
not just from the last
yeah,
2 days. That would be really.
yeah, that would be
impressive.
really bad if this
Yeah.
was 2 days. Like this is from
He's
weeks and
dying.
weeks.
Like send help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spent a week in Greensboro getting cooked by like 95.
Yep.
Yeah.
Felt
Yep.
like 101.
Yeah, like 12 hours out there, like all day
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
heat.
yeah,
So
brutal.
I don't envy our baseball counterparts who have to cover. Yeah, I mean I love baseball, but it seems pretty brutal having to cover it through the middle of June and July every year. At least camp is only like a week or so. But yeah, it's been a necessity, and it matches. I have yellow shorts on right now, so it matches the drip. It's no D-Led drip, but
No.
I'm trying my best out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Showed up with like a really high level of confidence today.
I did,
just
yeah.
walked in first
And
thing.
then D-Led just like shot it down. I'm like, oh, this man has a full suit on right now.
Can't match that trip. D-Led changed out of that suit and like
He changed in like
three-
3
it was
minutes.
really-
it was
that was
3
impressive.
minutes. And he just walked out and walked right back in
Yeah.
like a whole new
Yeah.
set of clothes. Like
He's very. I mean that's his superpower. That makes me a little bit more concerned about the one-on-ones actually.
oh yeah.
That level of dexterity that is required to get out of that suit.
Yeah, we go out there like
Yeah.
1-on-1. D-Led just cooks us and
Yeah,
like,
he's just
drill,
like-
and it's just like
He just hits you with that double move. and
The
it's
mystique
over.
around D-Led, I mean, truly is incredible.
Yeah,
You got a nice veteran presence to him.
he does.
Oh, yeah.
The veteran savvy. That's what I'd
Yeah,
be concerned
exactly.
about. Yeah.
the thing is, like, I know a lot of people like to clown on D-Led on Twitter and stuff, but I mean, just a peek behind the scenes. D-Led is a very nice man. Like everyone in the media room loves D-Led. Like all the coaches, D&Ps, I don't think like D-Led, but like Arthur.
I don't think Dean P's got D-Led. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to sort of get him.
Yeah, but Arthur Smith, like you can tell he really likes D-Led, and you can tell that he like first day of camp, first thing Arthur Smith mentioned was where's D-Led? Like, why isn't D-Led out here? And I mean, yeah, D-Led's a very nice man for sure.
He is. He's very nice. We love D-Led. So maybe we'll get D-Led on the pod. I think he'd be down. But yeah, guys, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we haven't.
I do want to touch on Penny Hart.
Penny Hart high.
Good catch. Yeah, good catch 2-on-2s. I think he had a solid day again today. I like not only am I driving the Penny Hart, like I'm not only am I pushing that narrative, I'm driving the hard hype train, but also I genuinely think that I would be happy if he was a wide receiver 5 on
I
this team objectively.
objectively, I think he is the wide receiver 5 at this moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Him and Frank Darby probably
yeah,
are the two.
he's also competing in kick returns, punt
Yep,
returns,
that
and
helps a lot
I
too.
spoke with Godwin Igwebuike after the game or after practice, and he said that he really wants to be in that kick returner competition as well, and he's looking forward to really challenging to earn that kick
Some nice
returner spot.
ranks for him. We've seen a lot so
Yeah,
far.
and Hart was out there with the Gunners and special teams as well, so that's a good sign for him. Caught some passes, but I do want to say he probably made the mistake of the day today in camp. The mental error of the day. It was Logan Woodside's turn on on those on that quarterback drill, the 11 on 11s to end practice that we were talking about earlier. Ritter got picked by Richie Grant. Heinicke ran out of time, and Woodside was actually taking the offense down the field. Woodside got closer to the end zone than anyone else. Throws it to Penny Hart, and time is flowing. Penny Hart catches what looked like a slant. Did a great job of getting away from like a defender. Was called down, and I mean Kevin, I think you mentioned, and I agree with you. If this was a real game action, he would have had a chance of actually scoring a
Yeah, I
touchdown
think he
there.
could have broken the tackle.
However, the play is called dead. The lineup, the offense is like lining up. They're getting ready for the next play because there's time for one more play. Penny Hart, meanwhile, is going into the end zone. Fans are cheering. Penny Hart is basking. He's celebrating, and you could tell Logan Woodside was irate. Like Logan Woodside is screaming at him to get back into position, and the coaches call it. Time runs out, and Woodside just absolutely slams his helmet, and he is pissed off walking off the field. And that's one of those where it's just one of those mental errors that you really can't have in any setting, especially not one in camp where you're fighting for your own roster spot. And I mean, it was just a little mental error by Penny Hart, and I'm sure coaches he'll hear about it from the coaches for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
In the
he's gonna
film
get an
room.
earful.
He'll get an
If not
earful.
from them, from Logan Woodside.
Yeah, I mean Logan Woodside.
He's gonna take him to the Woodside.
And I mean Logan. I was actually like sort of. I was sort of happy to see that from Woodside, just because
Yeah.
you could tell like he was intent. Like you could tell he was locked in. Like it's that competitive spirit. And I mean, after practice, I spoke with Woodside about it, and he did not throw hard under the bus. He just said it was just a situation where the offense didn't execute as they should have, which is the politically correct
Yes.
quarterback answer.
Great job, Woodside.
Yeah, which is what you want to see. I'm a Woodside's a veteran.
Yeah.
He's I think,
Toledo legend.
yeah, Toledo legend.
Action.
Yeah, some
Maction.
action. Yeah,
We got an
Arthur
action
Smith.
shout out, yeah.
Arthur Smith shouted out the Maction on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. Um, but yeah, it was yeah. I think Penny Hart will definitely learn from this, and I don't think he'll repeat that error ever again.
No, and I think if this was like an actual game situation, that wouldn't have happened. Like, I wonder if he thought he wasn't touched down or something. I don't want to bury him too much for it, but
it was
he's gonna get a little.
it was some bad semantics.
It was
though.
not
It
great.
was not great
It was not
optics
great.
on the play, just like celebrating as your
Yeah.
quarterback is yelling at you.
Yeah,
like, get back.
that would have been a great one to film. I wish I had filmed Drake London punting that one into the stands. That was
We came
amazing.
about a second away.
Yeah,
too.
it was like I thought like he stopped and and I was like, okay, stop record, and then he was just like and then he just like runs over and just kicks the ball.
He had the best view of
Yeah,
it,
that
too.
was
It was
I mean, it was
really
right there in front of us. And then they were like, actually, you guys need to move over. Like,
Yeah.
you're too far. Like after we've been standing there for
Yeah.
at least 40 minutes,
Yeah,
they were like,
but I love how like we took that initiative to stand over, and then like D-Led immediately like, came over, and he's like,
he
"Hey,
was like, I
guys."
like this spot. This is a good spot. Yeah. So no, it was but I do think like if we're being honest, you looking at how the depth charts haven't really changed at all so far. We've seen the only real change has been Matthew Bergeron being
That
the
was-
starter
that
at
was
left guard, but that was injury related.
And everyone
Um,
was saying Bergeron's done a good job. Like we
Yes,
talked with
yeah.
David Animate, said
Yeah.
Bergeron's been doing well.
You know.
I think Chris Lindstrom said he was doing well. Caleb McGarry, like all of these guys. And Caleb McGarry I asked him about O-line coach Dwayne Lightford, and McGarry could not stop singing his praises today post practice. He said that Coach Ledford has really made a profound impact, and that you really can't say enough good things about what Ledford has brought to this team. So I mean, just as we thought, and we've been saying, like Dwayne Ledford has been a very quiet MVP of this team
Yeah,
and of that offensive line last
very
year.
important, very important for sure. And um, yeah, I think we all probably know that Matthew Bergeron's probably not going to be taken off the field now. Maybe they still will, but I just sort of feel like you can't really yoink him now.
Yeah.
Like it, maybe they would have made. I think they would have probably played it out through like the first or second preseason game and started rotating him after the first preseason game and checking it out. But now I feel like it's kind of and it sucks for Hennessy because I think he had a legitimate chance to win it.
Yeah,
But
it sucks when you like get hurt and you lose your job because of
yeah,
injury. Like it's different if you're competing. You just like last year with Dahlman. It's like they both
yeah,
competed. Dahlman won it out, but actually sort of reminds me of 2015. I think it was the second or third preseason game. A newly drafted Tevin Coleman was Atlanta's starter, and I think Coleman goes down in that Giants game. I
yeah,
think he had a
yeah,
concussion. Devontae Freeman steps in, and then
yep,
he won
crushes
fantasy
it.
football
Yeah,
leagues that
yeah,
year.
hmm
And I mean, Devontae Freeman just never looked back, and Tevin Coleman ended up having, he ended up having a very important role
yeah,
in that
yeah,
offense under Kyle Shanahan. But Devontae Freeman was definitely the guy
yeah,
moving forward after that.
yeah.
So
It sucks when it happens.
it does, but
But it,
next guy up.
it's one of those things where you know, it's gotten Bergeron a lot more start reps with the starting offensive line than he would have otherwise gotten, and I think it's probably for the best that he's getting those reps. And the nice thing about it, if you can take anything nice away from an injury, is that Matt Hennessy is almost certainly safe. Like this is not a guy that was hanging on to the roster, and that injury is going to cost him his job. So, you know, Hennessy, I think, is pretty safe and will be a key member, like probably like basically the sixth offensive lineman at this point. So he's going to be a game day active. He's going to be the first man off the bench. He may even be out there in certain special team situations, things like that too. So, um, it helps buffer it a little bit, and we don't have to be, worried about Hennessy losing a spot on the roster over the injury. But it's obvious that Matthew Bergeron was drafted with the intention that he was going to be the starting left guard. I mean, they put him at left guard the second he stepped on the field and was able to practice. So
It's not a Jalen Mayfield situation of
Yeah.
all right, right
it's
tackle,
the,
right
I
tackle,
think
right
they may have
tackle.
learned something.
All right,
From
here you
it.
go. You're going to be a left guard now.
I hope. I
Go
think
block
it's-
Vita Vea.
They learned something, which I think is a good trait to have as a coaching staff. And I feel bad for Hennessy on that, but I think he'll certainly have his primary backup role. He's basically the next guy up on the interior center and guard. So
He's easily the best depth offensive
Oh, yeah,
lineman on
yeah.
this team.
he is
by
like an
far.
actual starting caliber offensive lineman. You can't, and it's always nice to have that. Swing tackle. We'll see. I mean, I think Josh Miles has basically not stood out at all, which is actually good in training camp to not really have any noise made because Jalen Mayfield's been getting his lunch. He's been getting his face pushed in by
Yeah.
Zach Harrison. Now the guy in that one rep from yesterday, that was Tyler Vrabel technically, but I think Harrison's had another sack today. He's had 4 or 5 sacks, and he usually plays either against the third string, which is Tyler Vrabel,
They've been
or
singing his praises
the
too.
second string Jalen Mayfield. And he's just been eating whoever he's been going against lunch, and I don't know that he would be able to do that against Caleb McGarry. We haven't seen him get a lot of opportunity to do that so far, but I think that's certainly a guy that I think Zach Harrison, Clark Phillips, probably getting the call up to the second string after the first preseason game would be my guess.
Yeah, and I saw somebody ask about Zach Harrison earlier, and I was gonna actually
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much say everything that he just did. But I do want to add in that I actually asked Arthur Smith about Zach Harrison yesterday, and he was very complimentary of him.
Yeah.
That was after he had already brought him up, unprompted earlier on in that press conference. And the one thing that he said that I thought was very important is he talked about how he's not like a COVID fifth year guy. Like he was a straight senior with a lot of room to grow. And so, I think he arrived with this expectation that he'd be raw. And I'm pretty sure Arthur Smith came out
Yeah.
after they drafted him and said, this is not a guy that we expect will, be on the field a whole lot as a rookie. He doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And he kind of reiterated that yesterday. But he also made sure to note that if he has to start in week 1, then that's not really a problem.
He's good enough to start in week 1.
Yeah, he said he would not rule out his ability to start at this stage, but like that there weren't a lot of expectations placed on him that he had to immediately come in. Basically like every edge rusher that was ever drafted by the previous regime, the expectation was like you have to start or we're going to have a bottom 5, pass rush. And even when they did start, they still had a bottom 5 pass rush. So,
And Harrison, I think he has such a great learning opportunity as this, more developmental guy as, we thought he would be, because you come into a locker room where you have Calais Campbell.
Who we haven't even seen
haven't
yet.
even seen Calais
We
Campbell.
haven't even seen
And the
Calais
first team defense looks so good
it's still
before Calais
smothering
Campbell,
the run. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's a chance this could be the number 1 run defense in the NFL.
You have Calais Campbell. You have just a stream of steady veteran presences on this defensive line. Like, I know Grady Jarrett doesn't play end, but you can still pick Grady Jarrett's brain. You can still pick David Onyemata's brain. Like, these guys, are still guys who can absolutely help, a young man coming into the league. And you have Ryan Nielsen, who has been lauded and praised as one of the best teachers of the defensive line in the NFL. Like, I know in New Orleans, they were not happy that, we pretty much poached Ryan Nielsen as our defensive coordinator, essentially. I know that Cameron Jordan took to Twitter and he outright said, yeah, like this is going to be like a big loss for the Saints. Like, and I mean, I think Harrison legitimately has every single possibility to succeed in this locker room. And I think this is one of the best locker rooms you can have currently in the NFL for one of those young developmental edge guys.
Yeah.
One other Arthur Blank press conference note as well, kind of on that same subject of poaching talent from New Orleans. He brought up when he hired Terry Fontenot that he got a call from Loomis in New Orleans, and he said that he'd been training him for 18 years to replace him. And he said, now I can't retire because he lost his top guy. So Terry Fontenot was probably a year or 2 away from, running the Saints pretty much.
Right.
So that is very interesting now to kind of look back on. And I think, one of the easiest ways to see if you're hiring the right people is to see how, the other team or other organization that you're, hiring them from, how they react to it. And with Ryan Nielsen and Fontenot, obviously at the time then, as we've seen now 2.5 years later, it's New Orleans misses those guys. They for sure in the moment they were sad, and I think you can kind of see now why. And Ryan Nielsen's had 2 practices or 2 padded practices now in Atlanta, and I mean you hear the way that his players talk about him, they just rave. I mean it's super intense, but again, a guy that they love competing for. He's set a very high bar in that room. And I think really the sky's the limit for that group.
And it's sort of that double barrel of the shotgun of, all right, you're improving yourself while also weakening your biggest rival and arguably biggest competition for the division. And I mean, people in New Orleans can make fun and say, oh, they're trying to be us. They're trying to be us. Now it's over here I mean, we're just sort of weakening you. We took the sponsorship from your shitty stadium. Like Sadie's decided that they wanted the new luxurious stadium in Atlanta. You guys can have the no offense to Little Caesars, but I think it's the Little Caesars Superdome, right? That does not sound as cool as Mercedes.
It does not have the same ring to it. You're right.
It doesn't have the same cachet.
No, it doesn't quite.
But more importantly, we took a very high up and very who I think is a very good executive who's now running the show here, and we took a very important part of their defense because that defensive line for New Orleans has been their strength for years.
Mm-hmm.
Like that defense has been really good over in New Orleans, and that defensive line has been, they have been setting the tone over there, and hopefully we can get some of that in Atlanta now.
Yeah, very hopeful of that. Well, guys, we are well over an hour now, so we will go ahead and wrap up because, we've been out in the sun for many hours and, now grinding out this content. But we appreciate everyone for hanging out with us for this earlier show. This will be our last show from training camp because right after practice tomorrow, I have to go get on an airplane so there will not be time to record. But we will still have one more day of practice coverage, and then Adnan will be back on Saturday, and then Will McFadden, I believe, will be here on Friday. So we'll get the next 2 days of practice as well, and then it'll be the preseason prep week where everything sort of changes at that point. And
Yeah, and I mean Thursday's off,
yeah,
bro. So yeah, we legitimately have it covered.
all the way until the first week of preseason. Yeah.
Although because I think the only practice that the Falcoholic won't be covering in training camp this year is that Monday practice.
Yeah.
That's the last one, and I mean I went to the last one last year, and the last one is just like, especially right before their joint practice with Miami, I don't think anything's going to be happening in that.
No,
practice.
It's going to be very limited. So, obviously, it's been great. We appreciate everyone for hanging out, everyone for donating, everyone for engaging, everyone for joining us at Sweetwater for the live show. It's been great. It's been a fun year. We are so excited, of course, to see more from this team as we get into the preseason and into the regular season. Of course, we will continue doing all this stuff as we usually do, but it's been fun to get here in person with everyone. It's been fun to have Daniel join us for the last couple of days as well. Daniel, you'll be here tomorrow too, right?
We'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, so we got one more day with Daniel. But guys, thank you so much once again. We really appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Leave that 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. Check out the Patreon if you want to get in on those patron fantasy leagues, which I will do next week. I promise. I've been saying that every week, but it will be done.
We've been kind of busy.
Yeah, we've been busy this week. Yeah, so I shouldn't have promised. I shouldn't have said anything about possibly doing it this week, but they will be forming very soon. If you have, so like if you're on Patreon, and you're like, where are the leagues? Like, no, you haven't missed anything. It hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen soon. And yeah, check out the community Discord server as well, the link to which is in the show description. Before we take off, want to thank, first of all, our guest, Daniel Flick. He's at DFlickDraft on the Twitter, at Sports Illustrated as well. Daniel, anything you'd like to plug before we sign off?
Shoot, I mean, I'll have a few training camp articles up today, I'm sure, and then I've got so much content from the last 2 days that'll just kind of be filtering out over the next week or so as well. So you can find all that at si.com/NFL/Falcons. That's about all I got. I'm tired. Very tired.
So tired. Yeah.
And hungry.
And hungry. We're gonna go feast after this.
We'll go get lunch
for sure. But yeah, my co-host Adnan Ikic at Say Which Way. Adnan, anything you'd like to let the people know about?
You can find a bunch of my, play-by-play coverage and all of my camp coverage on my Twitter at Say Which Way, and I try to live tweet more than literally anyone out there when it comes to all the plays and everything that's going on. I know a lot of people like to, and I mean it's completely fine, gather the information, then like give it to you all at once afterwards. No, not me. I want to just get it all out there like immediately, like right away. And I'm sure that people like that as well. Yeah. But
I've stopped like bothering to tweet out every rep because I know you got it, so I just tweet out the ones that are the most interesting. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, how many times can I tweet out Desmond Ritter passes short out here?
Desmond Ritter, yeah.
Desmond Ritter throws a flat route. Oh, we haven't seen that again. Fourth straight.
I think
pass.
He's waiting. I think I saw a shadow. Yeah, he's gonna jump us.
I thought I should have knocked on the door.
Yeah. I know you're in there. Podcast bozos.
I'm not helping. I'm not helping myself. I'm not helping myself at all.
They have it up in the locker room. And they're like,
okay. I also completely said that unprovoked. Like nobody asked me anything about that. I just said that.
Just buried him again. Yeah.
Just for no reason.
That wasn't what I meant when I asked you if you had anything else to share. But yeah.
Yeah. One more party. But we'll also have our training camp news and notes. We do those every single day. We'll have that up there later on today after we get home from lunch. We'll have that up there tomorrow. I think will have those on Friday, and I will take the horn on those on Saturday. So we've really fucking covered training camp. We've really fucking covered training camp this year.
It's really flown by. It's been almost a week now, so.
Yeah. I mean, it has been almost a week, but I'm telling hour plus live show, about 2,000 words of like whatever happened plus whatever we post and like write on Twitter. So, I think the Falcoholic coverage has been rather comprehensive this year for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know somebody's asking, should we worry about Calais Campbell's absence? Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, there's absolutely, when Arthur Smith answered, there was absolutely no concern whatsoever in his voice. this may even be a low key way of where they're like, okay, Calais, just like show up in a couple weeks, like whatever. Like I mean they didn't say that. That's completely speculation, but like. Might be a savvy veteran rest move by Calais Campbell. That's what I am fully expecting.
And in fairness, like Cordero Patterson, like you barely see him out
yeah,
there.
he gets a handful of reps. He's fine.
He'll get good in them too.
He does.
He does. He had a really nice screen pass today.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll have a handful of reps, and there's some days when he's just like he just goes over to the fans and like hangs out with
he just goes in like chats. Yeah, he's fine. Yeah. So yeah, no, there's no concern about those guys. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. We really appreciate you once again. Thanks for tuning into our live training camp coverage. We will, of course, have all kinds of stuff coming over the next few weeks as we get ramped up for the season, and we'll be back next year, I'm sure, doing this once more. But until next time, guys, thank you so much. Today's show is brought to you by Bet Online. Until next time, for myself, for special guest Daniel Flick, very special guest. Huge. And of course, co-host Adnan Ikic at Say Which Way, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you next time on the Falcoholic Live.